Okay, everyone's acting like I'm some kind of monster here, but they didn't see what I had to deal with for the past 3 years. I'm Sophia, 34, from Newport Beach, and let me tell you how my husband completely lost it at our community pool party when I was just trying to help him. Like, literally, just trying to help. Before we dive into what happened, let me know in the comments. Have you ever felt like your efforts to help someone were misunderstood? I'd love to hear your thoughts. I met Ryan 5 years ago at this charity gala where I was representing some luxury listings. You know, the kind where they serve champagne that costs more than most people's car payments. He was actually pretty impressive back then. Like, CrossFit level fit, had this amazing jawline. And even though he was just in middle management at some tech company, I thought, okay, he's got potential, you know? All right. God, if I could go back and tell myself what I was getting into. Like, don't get me wrong. Ryan was great at first. He always dressed sharp for my client events, knew how to work a room, and could actually keep up with my Pilates schedule. But I guess he got too comfortable or something. Because wow, what a difference marriage makes. I'm out here killing it in luxury real estate, breaking my own records, selling beachfront properties to tech billionaires. While he's still at the same company, just with a bigger title. And oh my God, such a bigger waistline. I've literally tried everything to help him get back on track. I bought him a Peloton, got him those fancy meal prep services, even hired this amazing trainer who works with actual celebrities. But Ryan just keeps stress eating and making all these excuses about his work schedule being so demanding. Like, hello, I work 60-hour weeks and still make it to my 6 a.m. workout class. Do you know how embarrassing it is when my clients ask what my husband does and I have to explain that he's in tech management? Because saying middle management at a mid-tier company is just, let's just say it's not the vibe I'm going for. And it's not just his career, he's completely let himself go. Those Tom Ford suits I bought him for my broker's events? He can't even button them anymore. But when I try to talk to him about it, he gets all defensive and says I'm being superficial. Look, I get that Silicon Valley is casual, but my business is all about image. How am I supposed to sell $30 million homes when my own husband looks like he gets his fashion inspiration from Mark Zuckerberg's worst hoodies? And the other agents in my office have husbands who are actual CEOs and venture capitalists. Meanwhile, I'm married to a guy who comes home looking like he raided a startup's free snack bar. Seriously, our kitchen looks like a tech company break room threw up in it. I tried to be patient. I really did. When he first started gaining weight, I kept my mouth shut. When he had to buy all new clothes because nothing fit, I only made a few comments about our budget. But it just kept getting worse. He stopped coming to my networking events, saying he felt out of place. Well, yeah. When everyone else is talking about their Series A funding and you're talking about debugging code or whatever, it's kind of a mood killer. Now, the worst part is that he doesn't even try to fit into my world anymore. My top client invited us on his yacht last month, and Ryan showed up in Allbirds and one of those tacky company t-shirts with a coding joke on it. I literally had to fake a client emergency so we could leave early. It's like he doesn't understand that in my business, appearances matter. Every time he shows up looking like that, it costs me potential listings. And don't even get me started on our social media presence. I used to love posting pictures of us together. We were actually this power couple once. Now, I haven't posted a full body shot of him in over a year. All our couple photos are from when we first got married, back when he still cared enough to meal prep and actually wore clothes that fit. I've tried everything to motivate him. I got us matching Apple Watches to track our steps. I started doing couples workout challenges. I even made these healthy smoothies, but he'd just stop at In-N-Out on his way home from work anyway. It's like he's deliberately trying to sabotage me. The breaking point really started coming when summer hit. All our neighbors have these amazing infinity pools, and everyone's always having fancy pool parties where, like, half of Silicon Valley shows up. Last year, I could at least count on Ryan to wear a dark shirt in the pool. But this year, he's acting like he doesn't even care who sees him. Meanwhile, I'm working my butt off with my trainer 5 days a week because my job literally depends on looking good. So, when our neighbors announced their annual tech industry pool party, I knew it was going to be a disaster. Half my client list was going to be there, including this huge venture capital guy who was thinking about listing his Atherton mansion. I literally begged Ryan to skip it. Told him I'd say he was debugging some major code issue or anything. But no, suddenly he decides this is the hill he wants to die on. He said he wasn't going to hide just because I was ashamed of him. That's the thing that drives me crazy. He tries to make me sound like this horrible, shallow person just because I care about our image. But in my world, image is everything. You think anyone's going to trust me to sell their $30 million compound if I can't even get my own husband to care about how he presents himself? This isn't about being shallow, it's about being professional. So, the morning of the pool party, I decided to try one last time to get through to him. I laid out this really nice Vilebrequin swim set I'd bought him. Like, seriously, these swim trunks cost more than his entire wardrobe of free company swag. But did he appreciate it? No. He took one look and said they were too tight. Well, duh. That was kind of the point. I was trying to give him a wake-up call. I ended up having 3 glasses of rosé before we even left the house, just to calm my nerves. Ryan kept giving me these looks like I was the one with the problem. He even had the nerve to tell me I was being mean when I suggested he wear one of those swim shirts. You know, the kind that covers everything up. I mean, hello? I was trying to help him save face. But no, he had to get all sensitive about it. The party started okay-ish. I was sticking with my real estate friends, pretending to be super busy with client calls whenever Ryan came near our group. Everything was fine until the catering started. I'd specifically told him to watch what he ate. We'd even had this huge fight about it that morning. But there he was, loading up his plate like he was carb loading for a hackathon or something. I kept seeing my clients watching him. You could tell they were wondering why someone like me was with, well, someone like him. That's when Jessica, that total girl boss who just listed her Palo Alto estate with me, actually pulled me aside and asked if everything was okay at home. Like, how mortifying is that? Here I am, trying to close a $7.5 million deal, and my husband's over there double fisting sliders and explaining blockchain to anyone who'll listen. That's when I started drinking more. Can you blame me? Every time I looked over, he was either eating or talking to people about his fascinating debugging stories. God, I wanted to die. Some of my biggest clients were there, people who probably spend more on their home automation systems than Ryan makes in a year. I guess the rose hit me harder than I realized, because next thing I know, I'm watching him go back for thirds. Thirds. And something in me just snapped. All these months of frustration, all the embarrassment, all the lost opportunities because my husband couldn't be bothered to take care of himself. It all came pouring out. I don't even remember exactly what I said at first, but I know I was loud. Something about him being flabby and stinking of cheese puffs. About how he was embarrassing me in front of everyone. Okay, fine. I definitely called him Silicon Valley's biggest failure and mentioned how his startup friends all became millionaires while he's still fixing other people's code. And yeah, I might have said something about him being too lazy to even try to look presentable, but I was just saying what everyone was thinking. What I didn't realize was that Rachel, that basic startup recruiter from 2 houses down who's always trying to create drama, was recording the whole thing on her iPhone. Like, who does that? This was a private conversation between me and my husband that I just happened to be having very loudly by the pool because I was fed up. But Ryan, oh my God, I have never seen him like that. Ever. 5 years of marriage, and I had no idea he could get that angry. He just exploded. Started saying all this stuff about how I'm materialistic and cruel, how I care more about what my clients think than my own husband's mental health. Called me a social climbing fake who couldn't even climb high enough. Can you believe that? In front of everyone, he went off about how I max out our credit cards on designer clothes but make fun of his company hoodies. How I'm so worried about appearances, but I'm ugly on the inside. His words, not mine. He even brought up how I lie to people about his job title. I mean, technically, yes, I do tell people he's a senior tech executive instead of just a team lead. But he didn't have to announce it to the whole Silicon Valley elite. The worst part? Some people were actually nodding along with him. Like, excuse me? Did they not see what I have to deal with? Did they not notice how he'd totally let himself go? But no. Suddenly, I'm the bad guy because I had the guts to say something about it. Things got really weird after that. Ryan just walked out. He didn't even try to smooth things over with anyone. He just grabbed his laptop bag, that he brings literally everywhere, and left me standing there. Some of the women came over to comfort me, saying they totally understood my frustration, but I could tell they were just being nice. The men were all giving me these dirty looks, like I deleted their source code or something. If you're enjoying this story so far, please consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel. It costs you nothing, but for me, especially in these early days, it means the world. Let's continue with what happens next. I woke up the next morning to my phone blowing up. Turns out, Rachel had posted the video in our neighborhood's private Facebook group. At first, I thought it was kind of funny. Like, yeah, I'd had a few too many drinks, but watching it back, I was just saying what needed to be said, you know? I even commented, sometimes tough love is the only way to get through to someone because, well, it is. But then things started getting crazy. People were sharing it outside our neighborhood group. Some of my clients saw it. My broker called me into her office and said we needed to have a serious discussion about personal brand management. Like, what does my marriage have to do with selling houses? But apparently, some clients were concerned about working with someone who would publicly humiliate their spouse, whatever that means. Ryan didn't come home that night, or the next night. His sister called me, screaming about how she always knew I was toxic for him, how he deserved better. As if she has any room to talk. She lives in a rental. But then she said something that actually got to me. She said Ryan had been in therapy for months, trying to deal with how I made him feel. Therapy? My husband? And he never even told me. I tried calling him, but he wouldn't answer. Finally, he texted, saying he was staying with his friend who just had a successful IPO and needed time to reevaluate our marriage. Can you believe that? He's reevaluating? I'm the one who had to watch him throw away his potential and our social status, but he's the victim. The comments on that video are brutal. Everyone's acting like I'm some kind of monster, but nobody's talking about how Ryan let himself go. Nobody's mentioning how he embarrassed me in front of my entire professional network. Some people are even calling me abusive. Abusive? Just because I had the courage to tell the truth. I keep trying to explain my side to people, but nobody wants to listen. My best friend Ashley, who totally understood where I was coming from at first, stopped answering my texts after she saw the video. She said she needed to create healthy boundaries, whatever that means. Even my mom, who's usually totally Team Sophia, said I went too far. But what was I supposed to do? Just sit there and watch him destroy both our lives with his dad bod and startup hoodies? The worst part came yesterday. Ryan finally came by to get more of his stuff, and he looked different. Like he'd already joined one of those fancy tech company gyms. He got a haircut. He was wearing this actually nice Patagonia vest that didn't make him look like a walking stereotype. But he wouldn't even look at me. He just said his lawyer would be in touch and that he'd seen my comment on the Facebook video. Said it proved I wasn't sorry at all, that I actually thought it was funny to humiliate him in front of the entire tech community. I tried to explain that I was just being honest. That everything I said came from a place of love and wanting him to reach his full potential. But he just laughed. Not even an angry laugh, just this sad, tired laugh. He said he'd spent years believing there was something wrong with him, that he wasn't good enough. But now he finally saw the truth. I was the problem all along. Now my phone's full of messages from random people in tech, calling me toxic and awful. I had to turn off comments on my real estate Instagram because people kept bringing it up. 4 clients have already pulled their listings, including that Atherton mansion. The neighborhood women who used to beg me for broker recommendations now act like I'm invisible at Blue Bottle Coffee. And don't even get me started on social media. I had to make all my accounts private because people kept sharing that video with comments about toxic hustle culture and internalized misogyny. Like, what does that even mean? And Ryan? He's suddenly everyone's favorite person. Everyone's checking on him, offering him job referrals, telling him how much better off he'll be without me. I got served with divorce papers this morning. Can you believe it? He's actually going through with it. The papers even mentioned emotional abuse and public humiliation. Like, since when is encouraging someone to be their best self considered abuse? His lawyer included screenshots of all my social media comments about his weight, even texts I'd sent him about being embarrassed by his company swag. They're trying to make me look like some kind of horrible person when all I did was try to motivate him to be better. My real estate office put me on a temporary leave of absence until this all blows over. But how is it supposed to blow over when that stupid video keeps circulating? Someone even made one of those TikTok reaction videos about it. calling me a tech wife Karen and talking about toxic grindset culture. It has like 500,000 likes. People who don't even know me are judging my entire marriage based on one bad day when I'd had too much rosé. Here's the thing nobody gets. I didn't want any of this. I wanted Ryan to care enough about our marriage to take care of himself. I wanted him to understand that my career matters, that appearances matter, that you can't just let yourself go and expect your partner to be okay with it. But no. Somehow I'm the villain because I said out loud what everyone in Silicon Valley was thinking. Ryan's college friend told me he's already lost 20 pounds since moving out. He's meal prepping, going to therapy, even got poached by a major tech company with actual stock options. Now he's telling everyone how free he feels, how he didn't realize how my comments were affecting his mental health. Please, if he could do all this now, why couldn't he do it when we were together? It's like he's trying to prove me wrong just out of spite. My mom says I need to apologize to try to fix things before the divorce is final. But apologize for what? For caring too much? For wanting my husband to be the best version of himself? Everyone's acting like I'm crazy for having standards, for wanting a partner who puts in effort. My mom keeps saying I should learn from this experience and work on myself. She even suggested therapy, as if I'm the one who needs help. I tried explaining to her that I was just trying to help Ryan live up to his potential, but she got all weird about it and said something about internalized capitalism and toxic success metrics. Mothers can be so dramatic sometimes. Everyone's acting like Ryan's this amazing success story now. Oh, look how good he looks. Oh, he seems so much happier. Oh, his new girlfriend is so supportive. Yeah, well, easy for her to be supportive when she got him after I did all the hard work of showing him what he needed to fix. You're welcome, Emily. I tried dating again last week. Went out with this really successful VC. But halfway through dinner, he said he'd seen that pool party video and wanted to know if I'd learned anything about emotional intelligence since then. Ugh. I obviously blocked him immediately. Like I need to be judged by someone who hasn't even seen my side of things. The neighborhood's still weird. People literally switch coffee shops when they see me coming. The same women who used to beg me for property investment advice now act like I'm invisible at charity galas. And don't even get me started on LinkedIn. I had to turn off all notifications because people kept sharing that video with comments about toxic tech culture. You know what really gets me, though? Ryan's whole transformation. Everyone's praising him for finding his authentic self and choosing happiness, but nobody wants to admit that none of this would have happened if I hadn't pushed him. He needed that wake-up call. So what if it was a little harsh? Look at the results. I saw on his Instagram that he's running a wellness group now at Google for people dealing with imposter syndrome. The irony. I'm the one who helped him become someone worth dating, and now he's out there acting like I'm some villain in his success story. That video might have exposed me, but it also proved my point. He was totally capable of taking care of himself. He just didn't care enough to do it when we were together. The final mediation was last week, and you wouldn't believe the nerve of his lawyer, bringing up all these screenshots of my pattern of behavior. Like, excuse me? Tracking your husband's calories and tagging him in fitness inspiration posts is not abuse. It's called being invested in your partner's success. But no, apparently I'm the bad guy for wanting him to be healthy and successful. Ryan just sat there, all calm in his perfect new body, with his perfect new girlfriend waiting outside, looking at me like I was some stranger who meant nothing to him. Emily had the nerve to bring him one of those green smoothies right in the middle of our meeting. Oh, babe, I knew you'd need a protein boost after your morning workout. Like, girl, we get it. You're the cool, supportive girlfriend who doesn't care that he still plays video games sometimes and wears those stupid graphic tees on weekends. The way she looks at him, like he's some kind of tech god just because he finally learned how to dress properly and got those Invisalign I kept telling him to get for years. It's like watching someone else enjoy the renovation project you gave up on. And now he's got this whole new life. His team at Google absolutely loves him. He's speaking at tech conferences about building healthy workplace culture, if you can believe it. I heard he even got featured in some Silicon Valley wellness blog about his transformation journey. But did he mention me even once? Did he talk about how none of this would have happened if I hadn't given him that push at the pool party? No, of course not. Because apparently I'm just the toxic ex-wife who made him feel bad about himself. Meanwhile, Emily gets to be the supportive partner who helped him find himself. please. Girl, I did all the hard work. You just showed up for the finished product. So, yeah, maybe I lost my husband. And maybe my business isn't what it used to be. And maybe some people think I'm this horrible person. But at least I stood up for my standards. At least I was honest about what I wanted. And you know what? The next guy I date will thank me for it because he'll know right from the start that I won't settle for less than the best. At least, that's what I kept telling myself. Until last night. I was sitting in my empty house, scrolling through Instagram, and this photo popped up. Ryan and Emily at some big tech conference where he was speaking about mental health in tech or whatever. I was ready to roll my eyes and close the app, but something made me stop and actually look at it. Like, really look at it. He was smiling. Not that fake smile he used to do in photos with me, but this real, genuine smile. And Emily wasn't even trying to hide her double chin in the photo. She was just genuinely happy. And they were surrounded by all these people who looked so comfortable with them. And for the first time, instead of feeling angry, I felt this weird thing in my chest. Like maybe, just maybe, I'd been wrong about some things. I remembered what my mom said last week when I was complaining about Ryan's success. She said, "Sophia, honey, you can't expect love if you make people feel unworthy of it." And I wanted to argue with her, like I always do. But sitting there looking at that photo, something just kind of broke. I ended up watching that pool party video again. I know. But this time, instead of defending myself, I actually watched Ryan's face when I was yelling all those things about his weight and his job. And God, I've never seen someone look so small and defeated. He used to look at me with so much love, and somehow I turned that into shame. And for what? Because he didn't fit my perfect image of what a tech husband should be? I did something crazy after that. I wrote him this email, not asking for anything, not trying to explain myself, just saying I was sorry. Like really, truly sorry. I told him I knew now that what I did was cruel, that he never deserved any of it, that my actions came from my own mess, not his. I told him he'd taught me something about kindness, even if I learned it the hard way. He actually wrote back. Just 2 lines. "Thank you for saying that. I wish you all the best." And weirdly, those 9 words meant more than all the therapy sessions my broker made me take. They made me realize that maybe all this time I was so focused on fixing Ryan, I never stopped to fix myself. So, I've been doing this thing now where I actually talk to my therapist. Instead of just trying to prove I'm right, I'm learning all this stuff about why I'm so obsessed with appearances and success. Like, apparently, it's not normal to have panic attacks when your partner wears off-brand athleisure in public. Who knew? I even started mentoring new agents at my office. Not about how to look perfect or marry rich, but about how to actually connect with people without trying to fix them all the time. Last week, I closed this huge deal with this tech founder, and for the first time, I didn't even care what brand my shoes were. I just talked to her like a real person. Told her about my journey, learning about authentic success or whatever. And she actually liked me better for it. I saw Ryan and Emily at Blue Bottle yesterday. They were sitting outside with their friends, all cozy and casual. And for the first time, I didn't feel like throwing my oat milk latte at them. I mean, yeah, it still hurt a little, but in a different way. Like watching the end of a movie where you know things turned out right, even if it wasn't the ending you wanted. I caught my reflection in the coffee shop window, and it hit me. I spent so much time trying to be this perfect person with this perfect life and this perfect husband that I forgot how to just be human. Maybe I'm not the hero in Ryan's success story, but I'm finally starting to write my own. And plot twist, it's not about being perfect anymore. So, yeah, I'm still that luxury real estate agent who had a public meltdown about her husband's dad bod at a pool party. But maybe I'm also someone who's learning that real success isn't about how things look. It's about how things feel. And honestly, that feels better than any designer outfit I've ever worn. Even if I did have to lose everything to figure it out.